we want her to come and do joint accounts. It's going to be difficult. But there is always a way out. So you need to be able to understand where is your wife, where is your husband coming from, and you now work on it. If you have a wife that has gone through such an horrible situation, and you are forcing joint accounts, you are just making a mistake. So don't take from people and say, we do joint account, we budget, we do this, and you just go into it. You need to first and foremost work on our background. Let us see. I have a situation like that. And I will tell you today, if I ask my wife to bring everything, she will bring it. Because you now need to reorientate her to understand that trust, that all your money belongs to her, she will bring her home. So what I'm simply saying is that let's use wisdom. Don't just agree and say joint account is the best. In fact, if you continue, you will create more problems now.
Okay, I'm going to take one more response. What was the question? We are moving on money in the next 1 minute.
Yeah. As it happens, I hear you as well. But the thing is, even when we are here, isn't it we are learning the things that are making us the people that will have marriages that last. If that's what is working for Okechi and Misochi, and there's no problems about it, why do you want to tweak something that is working? Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. But if it's giving them problems, then work on it before it gets, far. That's all I can say, because we are doing that because we see it works for us. It lessens, problems, or it increases trust rather than reduce it. Yeah. So why have headaches about something that you can work out and agree on? So this thing about Brother Akin saying, don't take things just for granted. That's why we are in places like these seminars and going and saying, if others are working it, why are you different? What is it? And then you work on those things that are not okay. Because we want to be excellent in the way we are doing things. We didn't, when we started, it was the first thing that we knew because of role models. We saw our parents doing it, and it worked. Because I go to my father and ask for money, and he would say, did you go to your mom? Because I knew, even if he was working, he was the breadwinner, the teachers, but I was asking, thinking, because my father was, my father's daughter. I would ask for anything here. As girls, there's 3 girls of us, but to father, we could ask anything. But even if he was so, generous to us, but he would first of all say, did you ask your mom? Because mom was the one holding the monies, but he would bring the money, and that was it. So we learned that, and I saw it working for my parents. Little did I know that Agri's parents were, that's just, it happened to be like that. That's what we know. And, I agree with you. Find out first, what are the snakes? What is making, that sort of hidden, finances and things like that. There's a reason behind it. And if it's working and there's no one losing sleep after it, I don't think we should trick it.
Excellent. Sharon.
Okay. We've got the intimacy questions. Yes. So there are 2 questions, but they're similar. So the first question has got 2 questions on it. So the first one is, how can a married couple discuss how many times should we make love? If they vary greatly, how can they decide on how much? That's the first question. Then the second question is sex in the bedroom, in sex or the bedroom, what is allowed and what is not allowed? Example, oral sex, kinky sex, using sex aids, etc. So that's the first question. Yeah, other than that, here now, okay. The second question is, how do you approach intimacy with your spouse if you both want different things in the bedroom? And this is from a wife's viewpoint. Okay, so I'm going to take the first one. So, intimacy. I personally, this is my own personal view, I think there are two stigmas or two issues in this place, in this, when it comes to intimacy. The first one is the stigma that comes along with lovemaking. I don't like sex because I believe lovemaking encompasses a lot more than just penetrative sex. Sorry, yeah. So I think there's a stigma that comes with that. I think because we're in the Christian world, it's almost not talked about. It's almost as if we don't talk about it. It just kind of happens. So there's that stigma that's one. And then the other aspect of it is that most of us have actually had relationships in the past. So we're coming into the marriage with our baggages. I liken it as if it's like a template. So when a guy is in his puberty stages, or he's kind of developed this template. Okay, I'm gonna hit 2, 4, 6, 8, and bam, job done. And this person carries that template into the relationship. And not only that, they actually look at it and think, well, I've had X amounts of relationships in the past and they didn't seem to complain, so why are you complaining? Those are the two things that I think is the issue here. And the key thing that would break that down is more or less communication. Number one, we need to get rid of that template. You need to come together, sit down together and say, okay, what works for us? When we first got married, we had couples who said, oh, they did X, Y, and Z. Then I'll go home and I'm like, we don't do that one. I don't know. Why is this one not happening for us? Until we now discovered that we need to find our own rhythm. There's no and the other thing is that the media is kind of painted it. You watch films like Basic Instincts, for instance, and you see them tearing their clothes off, and you almost assume that is what lovemaking is all about. It isn't. It's just a fraction of what lovemaking, how God intended it to be, is. So you need to find your own rhythm. So when it comes to intimacy and how often or how frequent, it's something that we have to sit down and talk about. If your husband or your spouse then comes back and says, oh, no, I don't want to do all that one, point him to Song of Solomon, because everything you're looking for and more is in there. So when God created us, there are parts of our body that was just created solely for us to enjoy lovemaking with our spouse. And we need to sit down and be able to actually talk about it. There's no stigma, there's no shame, So that's my point of view.
Man's point of view? Okay. Sex, kinky sex, sex toys. I think what tends to happen really, especially from us men, we have this fantasy in our head already, and we carry it from when we're very, very small, watching TV, hearing stories on the playground, all sorts of things like that. And then when we get into the bedroom also, we're kind of silently hoping that we've married the fantasy. And after everything, you now end up and think, what happened then? That didn't happen. But I feel that based on our own experience is the communication. Because as you're getting older, the drive starts to reduce. I'm speaking for myself. Absolutely. Because what tends to happen is there's a drive you have before you start having children. The two of you are in the house by yourself. You can start from the kitchen onto the staircase but once the children starts to come in, it starts to reduce. Oh, they're still awake. Wait. You're making too much noise. Hold on. But those are the realities. And eventually, silently, all of this affects our intimacy. When it comes to the physical intimacy, they start to affect the intimacy. And then eventually, the children stay with you for 18 years or more. And you're still almost like hiding it, And then it becomes something that becomes, when it's convenient, and there's nobody around, and there's no children in the hair church, we just do very, very quickly, and then you're done. So all of this needs planning, needs talking about, needs communicating, needs, okay, here we are. Should I just stop? Oh, okay, sorry. Okay. But one thing I need to point out, like my wife said, is the communication bit. And also expressing our expectation. Because there's some expectation that we have in the head that when you actually say it out, you also will hear yourself and think, why did I say that? I'm so sorry. I didn't know. So it's about expressing our expectation. We found it very, very difficult until 11 or 12 years into our relationship before we started talking about our sexual expectation. And all this while, there's all that built-up frustration in there. So for us, the shortcut for you guys is talk about it. These are my expectations. What do you think? Is it doable? She might actually be thinking about that also. Or she might come up and say, how could you? I thought you were a Christian. I thought you were a Christian. But there was one advice that we heard when we went for a marriage seminar. And the advice is, assuming that you're in bed and Jesus Christ is sitting on the edge, if you're happy to do what you are doing with Christ sitting down there, then go ahead and do it. Just go ahead. But if you know that Christ is saying, hang on a minute, my child, then but at the end of the day, it shouldn't degrade. I'm talking from a man's point of view. Whatever you're doing should not degrade your wife. Very, very important. It shouldn't degrade her. It shouldn't make her feel dirty. It shouldn't make her feel small. It should make her feel special. It should be contributing to you building life together. So if anything is going to make one person feel small, just because you want to be happy, then personally I would say you shouldn't do that.
Excellent. I have gone over time, beyond overtime. Chinwe, you have a question. What's your question?
People come from different backgrounds and get married. Sometimes they come from different churches who have different things in their mind about different things with sex. So like, you've been to a church and this church is against, and I'm going to go direct. Some people believe oral sex is wrong.
Go direct.
And I've had this discussion with a lot of people from my church, from the church I came from, and all that. Some people think oral sex is wrong. Some people feel that there's a certain level you get with God, and you shouldn't. There's some things that sex shouldn't be the most important thing in your mind. Some people say, no, and that's why I'm throwing the question out. And then some people say, that the same mouth, and I would have to be raw, because if people say you have oral sex, and then you come out and you worship, you come out and you preach, you come out and you're talking about God, that the same mouth you've done that with, you're coming out. And then sometimes it's confusing because people use, everybody has a verse in the Bible to be able to say that it is right and it is wrong. So then you come into a marriage where possibly you weren't virgins when you got married and you've done horrible things. But then you come in and you don't know what is okay for that person because he's come from a different background and you've come from a different background. How How do you deal with that? But even when you still talk about it and then it's still not working, what do you do? You're gonna say, because some will say, oh, you want it done, the person doesn't want it, and then the person says, so you are going to sin. I'm telling you the truth. It's the truth. You come from different backgrounds.
You know what? Until I graduated from university, I never knew what was anal sex. Never. I'm just thinking, what? In fact, I didn't even know there were what they call homosexuals and things like that. Because I was almost what they call sheltered and protected and things like that. Holding hands, just like Aki said, holding hands on the street, I had to be, after I've fully grown, my wife had to teach me how to, okay, let's hold hands in church. Showing affection outside. Or what we're trying to say. What we're trying to say is, when you're married, there's a common goal. And the common goal is we want to please each other. What can I do to please you? And what can you do to please? There has to be that understanding. Now, if one person goes in and they think that you are to please me and I am okay, then that's why there's a problem. But the two of you need to have that goal of, okay, I want to please you and I want you to please me also. When the meantime, I want to please you by giving and giving and giving, just like Ray and Jill said. And the other person should be also able to give also. So, like my wife said, it's about talking. You still need to talk about it. You're very, very angry. Jill, yeah. But it's communication, and it's about the two of you wanting to please each other. A lot of things that I don't know that my wife taught me. A lot of things that I when the sex starts to drop, with the children and things like that, and you women, after the children starts to grow, then you discover yourself again and say, let's pass this intimacy. I had to be taught back again. Because I was gotten used to, okay, we're used to hide and seek, back to so we had to be taught again. I had to be taught again of, okay, let's start afresh, It just shows the children are grown now, they know what we're doing. So there's no need pretending. They are even doing their own thing.
My son is not.
And I think the thing is also to remember that communication is not a one-off thing. So it's not because sometimes we talk once and we want results immediately. And I think it's the constant talking, and just keep talking about it till you get to where you want to get to. And I think that's important to bear in mind and not give up and think, well, but I told you last week that this and you haven't, you know what I mean? I think it takes time, and a bit like what Akin was saying, some things are mindsets, there are things in our minds that have over time been built as images and pictures and all of that. And that will take a while to shift. Even with the word of God, it takes a while to shift, But if we continue, that's why the scripture says you continue in these things. If you continue, and you're doing it from a place of love, it's not accusation or criticism, it's understanding, it's love, and it's all the things we've talked about, then hopefully that you start to see some shifts. But it's not a one-time thing, is what I just wanted to say. Communication is an ongoing thing that we just need to keep doing, both prayerfully, with the right attitude, and also where we can using the word of God. And we'll get there. I mean, we'll find our template. I think that was a good thing. We'll all find our template.
Can I just say one thing? In every marriage, apart from your partner, there should be 3 bedfellows: love, respect, and honour. And if you have those three in your marriage relationship, God will bless it.
Amen.